Hello guys, welcome back to our lesson, welcome back to our class. Today we start with Unit 8. The name of the unit is Choices. And you have been working with the first 2 pages of the first lesson. So let's explain some of the grammar that you are going to study in this lesson, okay? And probably this explanation can help you finish your activities as well and understand a little bit more how we use the language. So Unit 8, choices. Let me show you some sentences. Take a look at these sentences. If I study hard, I will pass the test. And if I have time, I will go to the party. What tense are those sentences? What time? We know that the time of those sentences is future, right? Because we can see will in the sentence and we know that we use will to make predictions about the future. Yeah, that's correct. So those sentences refer about the future, but we can see that the sentences have an expression at the beginning, right? So we can say that the sentences express a possible future result with a condition. The first part of the sentence indicates a condition, right? If I study hard, the result in the future, possible future result, I will pass the test. And in the second sentence, the condition, if I have time, I will go to the party. We call those types of sentences conditional sentences. A conditional sentence is a sentence that has 2 parts, or it's a coordinated sentence or a compound sentence. It includes a condition and a result, and the result depends on the condition, right? So we call it conditional sentence. In this particular type, we're using conditional sentences to express future possibility. Yep. So normally when we create the conditional sentences, we start with if. Let's check the grammar. We start the conditional sentence with if, and the part of the sentence that has if is the condition. Yep, so if I study hard, I will pass the test. In the part of the result, we always use future. In this case, we're using will as the future word to create the future result. So in the condition, most of the time we use will if, and in the result, we use will for the future. It's also important to notice that in the condition part, when we use if, the sentence, the verb goes in present. So check that in every sentence that we have with if, the verb is in present. And in the result, we use future. Now, we can use other words instead of if. We can change if for when, before, after, or as soon as. They also indicate condition, but they indicate condition about time for the future possible event to occur. For example, instead of saying if, I can say as soon as I finish university, I will get a job. Or when I am 60, I will be retired. It's important that we understand the difference between using if, between using as soon as, and between using when. We understand that when we use if, it is because we're not sure about the result, right? So it's the perfect word for conditions. Now, when we use as soon as, if you understand these 2 sentences here, I will send my homework as soon as I get home, and I will send my homework when I get home. The difference is how fast you are going to do the activity or the result. Yeah. So as soon as means immediately, and when just indicates time. It can be after lunch, before you go to bed, before you take a shower, etc. Right? So another important thing about conditionals is that we can change the order of the sentences. So we can start with the condition or cause, right? When I get home, And we can finish with the result. I will watch Netflix. So when I get home, that's the condition, I will watch Netflix. That is the future consequence. But I can change the order. I can start with the result, I will watch Netflix, and then put the condition at the end, when I get home. And you can do that for every conditional sentence. You can say, as soon as I get home, I will send my homework. When I get home, I will send my homework. If we check the previous examples, we can do the same there. We can say, I will pass the test if I study hard, and I will go to the party if I have time. When we start with the condition, with if or with when or with as soon as, most of the time we put a comma. So take that into consideration, right? So when we start with the condition, we normally put a comma. Now, it's also important that we understand that we can use other words to indicate the future possibility. And those words depend on how sure we are about the future result. Remember that will is like the perfect word for future, and we use it to make predictions. That's exactly what we're doing in this first conditional sentence. We're making a prediction about the future with a condition. But we can use other words, for example, might. Remember that might indicates also possibility, but the certainty or how sure we are about the result is different. So remember that when we use words in English, we can indicate how sure we are about the prediction, and we can go from it will definitely to it definitely won't. And in the middle, we can use words like may or might, that they indicate like a 50% chance of the future event to occur. So for example, I can say, I might, not I will, but I might, so I'm not really sure about this, I might watch Netflix when I get home. So remember, the first conditional talks about future possible events or results with a condition. And for the condition part, most of the time we use if, or we can use when, or we can use as soon as, and the verb goes in present. That's for the condition. And for the result, we always use the future. And for the future, we can use will, we can also use might, we can use may, we can use different words to express the future. And that's how we create sentences in the first conditional for the future. Now, there are other sentences that we can create with conditionals. And we call those sentences zero conditionals, right? So it's a type of conditional sentence. The zero conditional is used to make sentences about the real world. And it often refers to general truths, facts, such as scientific facts. So in this case, we're not talking about something that is probable or possible in the future. We're talking about something that is real, yes, and it's in the present, and it's always the same, a fact. It indicates that the result is always true if we follow the condition. So there is no other possibility, right? It's a fact. We can also use this type of conditional, the zero conditional, to give instructions. So let's check. If you freeze water, what happens? It becomes a solid, right? So we're not talking about something that probably can happen. We're talking about something that it will always happen. It's a scientific truth. It happens here in Mexico. It happens in the United States. It happens in every part of the planet. It's a fact. So we use it for facts. And we also have a conditional. If you freeze the water, what is the result? It becomes a solid. Check that we use the present in the condition, if, and we also use the present in the result. So it's different from the first conditional, because the first conditional is present and future in the result. In this case, it's present. You can also change if. Remember that you can change if for other words. In this case, you can use when. So when you mix red and blue, you get purple, right? Another fact. For for example, for an instruction, you can say, if you want to come, call me before 5. If you want to go to the party, clean your room. So that would be like an instruction, right? Again, we use present, present. And remember that we can also change the order here. Conditionals give us the opportunity to change the order. So we can start with the result, plants die, and what is the condition? If they don't get enough water. So today we learned that we can use conditional sentences to talk about conditions, and results. And for the zero conditional, we use it for facts, things that never change, things that are always true. We use it for give instructions, and the structure is that in the condition, we use if or when, right? And the present, and for the result, we also use the present. And in the first conditional is for possible future events, right? And we use if, we use when, we use the present in the condition. And for the result, we use the future. And we can use many words to also express future. Check the grammar box in the book. Try to complete the activity there and try to complete your activities. And next class, we will check them. And if you have questions, we can discuss them. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.